Now let's talk about the Heat and Knicks series here, because before we started the show, they concluded Game 4, and the Heat did get that win. Jimmy Butler with 28 points. Um, Cole Martin having a nice win, playing well off the bench. Maxi Strus, and then on the other side of the ball, RJ Barrett, good game. Jalen Brunson, good game. And there's Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about James Harden in the playoff Harden narrative. A narrative that isn't talked enough about is playoff Randle. Now, Julius Randle in the regular season, he's good for like 24.
Yeah.
It's like 24, 8, and 5, roughly. In the postseason, he has the 4th worst shooting percentage in playoff history for a single player.
Yeah.
He goes from scoring 25 points a game to scoring 16. Like, you're talking about literally half the player when he's in the playoffs. And nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it with Julius Randle because nobody cares.
Yeah, no one actually cares because Julius Randle was a bust until he went to the New York Knicks, and then he had one really good year. But even when he had that good year, I'm like, pump the brakes. It's one good year with the Knicks. He's their only really, really good player. And the regular season, of course, Julius Randle's going to be physically imposing on most of the teams. But when you have Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Love matching up with you, and you're taking step back threes, like this is a series where I feel like Julius Randle, who's playing at the power forward, so Kevin Love or Jimmy Butler is going to be matching up with him, and then they still have their center playing in Robinson, so it's like this is a series Randle should be dominating, but I don't love that he's taking threes, and I feel like he's taking way too many perimeter shots. I get you have to keep them honest, but Julius Randle's definitely a problem in the playoffs, and like he's not a high performer, fouled out in that game, and then
6 turnovers too.
For this series, I thought it was going to be over in 5. I'm like, just sit Jimmy Butler in game 2 versus New York. You got the split you wanted, and then you're going to go back to Miami. And I was like, if Butler plays, even if he doesn't, you still almost won the game without Jimmy Butler, which is nuts when you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
With that roster. So Jimmy Butler comes back. And then you dominate game 1, and then you dominate game 3, and then you dominate game 4. So you have full control in Miami. You're going back to New York. You're going to close out the series. And then in game 2, I saw Jimmy Butler on the sideline, and he was telling fans, he's like, yeah, be thankful you got this one because I'm going to be back to New York to close you guys out. And then he was yelling at fans on the sideline, like, yeah, I'm going to be back for game 5 to close you out. And it's like the Knicks have no business being in this series with the Miami Heat because the Cavs top to bottom were a lot more talented than them. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, and then there's a difference when you're getting a lot of Jimmy Butler touching the ball versus a lot of Jalen Brunson. It's like the Knicks are kind of a goofy team where it's like Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett. Is he a great player? Is he a good player? Is he a fine player? He's like,
who knows?
Okay, and then
decent.
Yeah, and then we have Josh Hart who tries really hard. I like Josh Hart a lot, but like I feel like he's a good player on like a Phoenix or a Golden State, not when he's your third best player on the New York Knicks in the second round of the playoffs. Like these are a bunch of really good role players on a championship team, and this team is still missing 2 stars to be able to compete legitimately. And then Jimmy Butler didn't even try in game 4. Like he wasn't aggressive. He wasn't looking for a shot. He was just trying to facilitate. And then defensively, Knicks can't stop this team at all. You have Max Strus. He'll hit a shot. Caleb Martin. Gabe Vincent's been really awesome. And then this team is also still missing. Victor Oladipo went down with a knee injury, and Tyler Hero's not there.
Yeah, no, I don't think the Knicks have any. I didn't think they were going to beat the Cavaliers. And it's like none of the players really scare me. It's like Jalen Brunson's a great story, and he's been playing great, and I'm not taking anything away from Jalen Brunson. But at the same time, he's an undersized guard, so you can defend a Jalen Brunson pretty well. If you match him up with someone like if Victor Oladipo was playing, he would have been a good matchup with him. And then RJ Barrett, he kind of, I don't want to compare them because I think I personally like this other player a little bit more, but like Michael Porter Jr., for example.
Yeah.
I compare them similar because When they're on their game, they're really, really solid. But when they're not, they're average at best, and they're
Yeah.
just inconsistent, both of them. And then there's the Julius Randles of the world, who's like, man, I'm not here to sit on RJ, Julius Randle, and say that he's not a good player in general. But at the same time, like, nobody takes him seriously.
No.
Nobody takes him seriously. I mean, stop it. You're really gonna like worry about him against the Heat with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo?
Yeah.
Give me a break. So this team is just like, good job. You beat the Cavaliers. You're gonna be out in five.
Yeah, and Julius Randle's at his best where he's making quick, decisive decisions with the basketball, and he's taking too much time. He's trying to go ISO where he's just dribbling the ball for 8, 9 seconds. And if you do that versus Bam, he's gonna eat you up. And the reason why I love the Heat in the series, where I felt like the Bucks are definitely a tough matchup for Bam, but he was able to pull through in the last 2 games and make a huge impact. But I'm like, the rest of the playoffs, Bam always matches up well with the Knicks, and he can dominate Randall. And Jimmy Butler was huge on the offensive glass, and then he always matches up really well with the Celtics. So the Knicks are dead. They're losing in 5, which puts the Miami Heat in the conference championship. So it's the Heat, it's gonna have be hard to pick against them just with what Butler did versus the Bucks, and then a gentleman sweep versus the Knicks. It'll be a sweep within all the games that Jimmy Butler played. Probably would have been a sweep if he played in game 4. So I think the Heat have probably a solid 65% chance of getting back to the finals, depending on who comes out of Boston versus Philadelphia. And Celtics and Philadelphia both are shaky home teams.